ఎందుకంటే ఇంటర్వ్యూలో అడిగినప్పుడు చెప్పాలి. అంటే ఎన్ని సపోర్ట్ టికెట్స్ వచ్చేవి? ఏ టూల్స్ వాడేవాళ్ళు అంటే, మనకు
హ్మ్.
ఒక ఓవర్‌వ్యూ ఉండాల. ఓకే. ఇలాంటి టికెట్స్ వచ్చేవి. ఇలా రెస్పాండ్ అవుతున్నాము అన్నట్టు.
ఓకే.
నీకు యూజర్ ఇంటర్‌ఫేసు తెలియాలి. అంటే ఇదే టికెట్ కొంతమంది జస్ట్ ఊరికే మెయిల్ రాసేస్తారు అంతే. అంటే
హ్మ్.
వాళ్ళ క్లయింట్ ఏ టూల్ యూజ్ చేస్తున్నాడు, ఎలా అప్రోచ్ అవుతున్నాడనేది. కొంతమంది జీరా వాడతారు, కొంతమంది జోహో వాడతారు.
హ్మ్.
ఇలా డిఫరెంట్ డిఫరెంట్ టికెటింగ్ టూల్స్ వాడతారు.
హ్మ్.
సో, ఈ క్లయింట్ వచ్చేసి ఈ టికెట్ రైజ్ చేసారు. ఏది వెండర్ రైజింగ్ బ్యాలెన్స్ ఈస్ నాట్ మ్యాచింగ్ విత్ ద జీఎల్ బ్యాలెన్స్ అని.
హ్మ్.
మనం మామూలుగా వెండర్ రైజింగ్ బ్యాలెన్స్ రిపోర్ట్ పుల్ చేస్తే అక్కడ టోటల్ ఒక 1,00,000 చూపిస్తుందనుకో వెండర్ బ్యాలెన్స్. ఈ జీఎల్
హ్మ్.
బ్యాలెన్స్ అంటే అకౌంట్స్ పేయబుల్. సమ్మరీ అకౌంట్ ఉంటది కదా! అకౌంట్స్ పేయబుల్. ఆ
హ్మ్.
అకౌంట్స్ పేయబుల్ బ్యాలెన్స్ చూసి 90,000 ఉందనుకో. ఆ 10,000 డిఫరెన్స్ చూపిస్తుంది. అది ఇష్యూ టికెట్ రైజ్ చేశారు.
ఓకే.
సో, ఇప్పుడు మనం ఇలాంటి టికెట్స్ వచ్చినప్పుడు మనము అసలు వాడి స్క్రీన్ షేరింగ్ తీసుకొని, అసలు వెండర్ రైజింగ్ బ్యాలెన్స్ ఏముంది? తర్వాత జీఎల్ బ్యాలెన్స్ ఏముంది? ఒక్కొక్క వెండర్ బ్యాలెన్సే డ్రిల్ డౌన్ చేసి చెక్ చేయాలి ఎక్కడ ఉంది. ఇది
హ్మ్.
యాక్చువల్‌గా ఒక 3, 4 మంత్స్ నుంచి నడుస్తుంది. ఈ అంటే ఇష్యూ ఈజీగా అర్థమవుతుంది. కానీ సొల్యూషన్ అనేది బ్యాలెన్స్ అనేది మ్యాచ్ అవ్వట్లేదు. ఎందుకంటే అది కొద్దిగా వాడు 2017 డేటా, 2018 డేటా అలా పుల్ చేసి తీస్తున్నాడు. అది వేరే ఉంది. సొల్యూషన్ మనం మళ్ళీ చేసాం. జస్ట్ అసలు సపోర్ట్ టికెట్స్ అనేవి ఎలా వస్తాయని చూపిస్తున్నా అంతే.
ఓకే.
సో, ఇదంతా కన్వర్జేషన్ ఇట్లా. అంటే మనము ఏదైతే మనం సొల్యూషన్ ఇస్తామో, ఆ సొల్యూషన్ అంతా ఒక రికార్డర్‌లో ఇలా ఉంటది. అది. ఎందుకంటే ఆహ్, అంటే ఇంటర్వ్యూలో అడిగినప్పుడు క్లియర్‌గా మనం సపోర్ట్ టికెట్ చేసావంటే చేశాను. ఎలా చేసావు అంటే ఏ టూల్ ఏమైనా వాడారా అన్నట్టుగా ఉంటది. అడుగుతారు అందుకు. సో, అలాంటిది సేమ్ ఎందుకో రావట్లే. సరే. సేమ్ ఇలాగే ఉంటాయి టికెట్స్ అన్నీ అంతే. ఇవన్నీ
సపోర్ట్
అలాంటి టికెట్స్.
టూల్ పేరేంటిది?
ఇది డీఎఫ్ఎం ఇది మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్ వాడిదే ఇది. ఇంటర్నల్ టూల్ ఇది. ఇదే వాడాలని ఏమి ఉండదు ఎక్కడ. మ్యాండేటరీ కాదు. ఏదైనా నార్మల్‌గా మెయిల్ కూడా ట్రాప్ చేస్తారు అంతే మెయిల్. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్
డీఎఫ్ఎం ఫుల్
నువ్వు
ఫామ్ ఏంది?
ఇది ఏమో తెలీదు సంతోష్.
ఇది
ఇదే
విన్నాను.
మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్
ఎందుకు
వాడిది ఇంటర్నల్ టూల్ ఇది.
గుర్తు రావట్లేదు కరెక్ట్. ఇది
చాలా మంది వాడతారు ఇది. మామూలుగా ఇంటర్నల్‌గా మీరు కూడా వాడతారు. చాలా మంది ఈవైలో అన్ని చోట్ల వాడతారు. అంటే ఓన్లీ డైనమిక్స్ కాదు. ఇన్ జనరల్‌గా ఏ సపోర్ట్ టికెట్స్ రైజ్ చేయాలన్నా సపోర్ట్
లేదు.
టికెటింగ్ టూల్ అంతే ఇది.
ఓకే.
హ్మ్.
ఓకే.
సో, మనకు యావరేజ్‌గా ఇప్పుడు సపోర్ట్ ప్రాజెక్ట్‌లో ఉన్నామనుకో, మనకు యావరేజ్‌గా డైలీ ఒక 2 టికెట్స్, 3 టికెట్స్ అలా వస్తున్నాయని మనం చెప్పాల్సుంటది అట్లా ఇంటర్వ్యూలో. ఏ మాడ్యూల్స్ మీద వస్తున్నాయంటే అన్ని అకౌంట్స్ పేయబుల్, రిసీవబుల్స్, ఫిక్స్డ్ అసెట్స్ ఇలా టికెట్స్ ఇప్పుడు ప్రాబ్లమ్ ఏందంటే సపోర్ట్ ప్రాజెక్ట్‌లో వచ్చిందనుకో, అసలు నీకు ఏ మాడ్యూల్ ఎప్పుడొస్తదో, ఏం ఎర్రర్ వస్తదో తెలీదు నీకు. నువ్వు అన్నిటికి రెడీ ఉండాలి. అది వచ్చిన వెంటనే దాని మీద రిసర్చ్ చేస్తావు. వాళ్ళకు టైం తీసుకొని ఆన్సర్ ఇస్తావు. అదే ఇంప్లిమెంటేషన్ అయితే ఏ టు జెడ్ స్టార్టింగ్ నుండి ఎండింగ్ వరకు కాన్ఫిగర్ చేసుకుంటూ స్లోగా పోతూ ఉంటాం. డిస్కషన్‌లన్నీ నడుస్తూ ఉంటాయి అట్లా. అది. సో, ఇలా ఉంటది మనకు. ఇప్పుడు రికార్డ్ చేసి ఇది మనం అది వెండర్ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్స్ పోస్ట్ చేస్తాం ఒకసారి. అర్థమైందా? మామూలుగా సపోర్ట్ టికెట్స్ ఎలా వస్తాయి? ఏం కథ అని. అంటే జాబ్ రోల్స్ అర్థమవుతున్నాయా? మన ఏం చేస్తాము? సపోర్ట్ ప్రాజెక్ట్, టెస్టింగ్ ప్రాజెక్ట్, ఇంప్లిమెంటేషన్
అర్థమైంది.
అది.
డైనమిక్స్ ఫీల్డ్ సర్వీస్ అంట.
అది.
ఫీల్డ్ సర్వీస్.
అచ్చా! ఫీల్డ్ సర్వీస్ అవునవును. ఫీల్డ్ సర్వీస్ అని ఏదో ఇది కూడా సబ్స్క్రిప్షన్ పే చేసుకోవాలి మళ్ళీ కస్టమర్స్. ఇలాంటి టికెటింగ్ టూల్ యూజ్ చేయాలి అది ఇది అంటే అట్లా. సో, ఇప్పుడు నేనున్న ప్రాజెక్ట్‌లో ఏందంటే ఆహ్, వీళ్ళు సో till now we have discussed, let me open that course content if it is available, so that you will get a flow like what exactly we are going to teach everything. Can you see this one? So this general ledger anyways we are not going to discuss right now because we have we have directly started with the accounts payable, right? So here we have already discussed about P2P cycle, and then we have started with the vendor creations, that is vendor master menu, everything we have created, right? And then we discussed about how to post an entry, that is non-PO non-PO invoices we have discussed, and then we'll discuss about vendor posting, even this also discussed. uh, Payment cycle, this all will come, we'll discuss today only, like payment days and payment schedules. So we'll, and then cash discounts, and we'll try to post few transactions. So this is a flow here, but I need to add few more topics here. I'll add it like once we, I need to edit this one, but these are the more important topics. If you see this syllabus, it is nothing but the environment. Example, yeah, if you expand all, there are a lot of topics updated here, right? Among these, whatever the important topics that most of the customers uses, right, that we are going to discuss. That's all. So even the course content also will say the same thing. So now we'll try to post few transactions. Then we can apply. We can get into the payment related. First, we'll try to record a new transactions here. Click on AP invoice. Click on lines. So if you see here, by default for few products, item sales group and sales tax group will be updated. See, for every product we will be having we are supposed to pay some sales tax, right? So for that purpose, we'll configure in tax module, like there itself, like we'll have to while creating the products list itself, we'll give which sales tax is applicable, and we'll have to create a different percentage. There will be different percentages for product, right? So based on that, this sales tax group will be updated. Now, once we are done with all this thing, then we'll click on validate.
సాలరీ నువ్వు ఆల్రెడీ క్రియేట్ చేసినావా?
సాలరీ ఇది మనం యూఎస్ఎంఎఫ్ యూజ్ చేస్తున్నాం కదా, సో ఆల్రెడీ మెయిన్ అకౌంట్స్ ఆల్రెడీ క్రియేట్ అయిపోయినాయి.
లేదు, నేను చెక్ చేస్తా అంటే సాలరీ రావడం లేదు ఎందుకు.
వస్తుంది, ఒకసారి రీఫ్రెష్ చెక్.
ఓకే.
So we have posted the transaction, and if you see the entry, it is clear: salary expense account data to accounts payable. So we'll try to post few more transaction here. AP invoice. Now we'll select a new vendor. Let's say for we are purchasing any office supplies related. See, for to make it easy, I'm just updating it as an REL invoice numbers. By default, for this particular office supplies related product, right? They have updated the main account. So what is the main account? That is office supplies expense account. So it is not mandatory that you have to give it some. You can edit, like while creating this product, you can or while creating this vendor itself, you can update all these details. Anyway, that product related, how to configure all those things, we'll discuss in the product and master related. Now click on post. Okay. Yeah. So now we'll select any other vendor. Or else we'll update it as a travel expense. Since we do not have any courier, this is a separate main account for travel. Sorry, courier. So we are updating it as in travel expenses. Yeah. So till here you are clear, right? So how to post the single entries. So and below, if you observe here under invoice, by default terms of payment it is updated here. That is while creating the vendor, we will be giving this terms of payment. So if you observe this one, net 30 means this is the invoice date, right? 7/5. That is today's date. From 7/5 to plus 30 days. That is, so this is a due date. So let's see, for example, if you change the terms of payment as a net 10 days. Yeah. Then it will calculate 10 days from the invoice due date. We'll see any other terms of payment. 45 days. Same. Just invoice date plus due date. And if you can even, it is not mandatory that you have to give the today's date itself. Based on the invoice, whatever the date is generated on the invoice copy, right? You can give that one. And then by default, sorry, this one. Invoice date is today's and this. Yeah. So if you change the invoice date here, then by default even this date also will get updated based on this one. And this cash discount, if you are eligible, as yesterday we have discussed, right? So if you are eligible, then by default this will be applicable, or else you can give it manually. Yeah. And there are a few fields which you have to, for example, if you want to change any that is invoice number, see in list itself, you can update the invoice number and then the bank accounts, everything. But along with these, if you observe here, there are a few more options are added here under general. For example, if you want to transfer or if you want to change the date, and then there are a lot of details are updated here based on the requirement. You can update. Uh, and if you go to the invoice,
ట్రాన్స్ఫర్ అంటే ఏంటిది శ్రీనివాస్?
అది మనం యూజ్ చేయము. సో అది చూద్దాం. అది మ్యాండేటరీ ఫీల్డ్ ఏం కాదు. So mandatory fields are this one. So transfer even I'm not sure when we use that one. So in invoice, so if you want to change the testing profile, posting profile, right, you can change it here. But if you go to the list, here you will not see the posting profile. But if you go to the invoice, you can see the posting profile. So posting profile already we have updated in the vendor, sorry, the accounts payable parameters, right? And this is approved by, for example, if there are any if there is any hierarchy to approve any of this particular invoice, and let's say if you want to change this approved by, see by default this approved by will be our name, that is admin name. And if you want to change this one, you can just click on the drop down. It is taking some time to load, but in general it will if you click on the drop down, it will show the list of the users. See, these are the employees which are already created. You can change if you want. And then you see by default this will be approved. If you flag this off, then this upload option will be disabled. And if you want to update any specific date, like invoice payment release date, if it is required, you can just update here. That's all. And if there are any other details with regards to cash discount, anyway this is not eligible, right? So if you go to the list, by default it is if the vendor is eligible, I mean if you are eligible for this particular vendor, then it will show here. If it is not there, then it will not show. And if you want to give it manually, you can give it that. And this is related to fixed assets that anyway we'll discuss. There are a lot of different types of transactions, right? We'll discuss here. And if you want to update specific address for this particular invoice, or if you want to add any other address, like see if you see there are a lot of locations are there, you can update that one. And history is nothing but whenever you post this entry, right, all those details will be updated here, like who has posted this entry and all. And this 1099, it is not, as I mentioned, this is not related to some our Indian customers. This is related to some US or any other countries. If they have any all these related, you can update. These even foreign trade also same. If this invoice is something related to foreign transaction or any I mean you can update all those details here. Okay. And if you see here,
కరెన్సీ తీసుకున్న ఓకే యూఎస్డి కాకుండా వేరే తీసుకుంటే నీకు మారిపోతుంది కదా?
మారిపోతుంది. అది చూద్దాం. ఎందుకంటే మనం కరెన్సీ కాన్ఫిగరేషన్స్ ఇవన్నీ చెక్ చేసేటప్పుడు చెప్తాను. ప్రస్తుతానికి అస్యూమ్ దట్ వి ఆర్ డీలింగ్ ఓన్లీ విత్ ద యూఎస్డి. We can take multiple transactions. We can select this different currency as well instead of USD. But for the time being, we'll go for the USD only because we are using the USMF. Once we do configuration in our Reliance company, right? In general ledger, we have to update all the currency and then separate module on the currency.
శ్రీనివాస్,
ఇందాక సిఏడి తీసుకుంటే కింద నాకు రిపోర్టింగ్ కరెన్సీలో అంతా ఇది కన్వర్టెడ్ అమౌంట్ అంటే యూఎస్డీలో వచ్చింది.
వస్తుంది.
అదే
కరెన్సీస్ వచ్చేసి యూఎస్డి కానీ ఏఈడి కానీ ఏయుఎస్ కానీ అవన్నీ కానీ వస్తాయి కదా?
వస్తాయి అన్ని వస్తాయి. మనం ఏ కరెన్సీ అయినా తీసుకోవచ్చు.
మనం వచ్చేసి మన ఇండియన్ కరెన్సీ నుంచి వేరే కరెన్సీకి మనం కంపేర్ చేసుకుంటాం.
అవన్నీ మనం మళ్ళీ డిస్కస్ చేద్దాము. సో ప్రస్తుతానికి ఇది అయిపోయింది. ఆ కరెన్సీ టాపికే సెపరేట్. అందుకే అంటుంది అస్యూమ్ దట్ వి ఆర్ డూయింగ్ యూఎస్డి బికాస్ కరెన్సీ మాడ్యూల్ సెపరేట్ గా ఉంది. అది మళ్ళీ డిస్కస్ చేద్దాం.
సరే.
సో ఇది బేసిక్ ఎంట్రీ. తర్వాత డెప్త్ గా పోతూ ఉంటే లైక్ హౌ టు పోస్ట్ మల్టిపుల్ కరెన్సీ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్స్ అవన్నీ ఉన్నాయి. అవన్నీ చేద్దాం. సో దిస్ ఇస్ అ హెడర్. ఎనీవేస్ దిస్ యూ అండర్స్టూడ్. దెన్ ఇఫ్ యూ click on the functions, if you want to post and transfer, then by default you can click on this one. And if you want to delete the journal lines, you can click, or else even here also you can click. If you click on the delete, it will get deleted, or else there is one more option here. And then like we have discussed it, right? If you want to save, for example, assume that if you are doing this transaction on routine basis, like every month or regularly you are doing the same transaction with the same amount, And if you do not want to update all these details every now and then, you can just save this voucher, and then next time whenever you want to uh, post this transaction, right, you can just click on the select voucher template, then it will show you the same transaction. So you, at that time, it will save your time to instead of entering all these details always. And these inquiries and reports, uh, for example, if you have given, if you want to know what is the balance related to particular vendor, or for example, if you click on the balance control, yeah, see for this particular vendor, or see, these are the bank accounts which we have, that is USMF, European Operating Payroll. Whenever you are doing the transactions, right, so you should know what is the balance that is available in your account. So based on the based on the balance only, you can go ahead and you can process the invoices, right. To make it easy, you can click on the balance control. That's it. So this is something related to inquiries, and then this related to sales tax total. Budget check, that will, if in case if your company is following any budget related, uh, the, we have to do few configuration that is related to budget, then we'll see later. And this is related to print. If you want to print like into PDF or whatever the format you are looking, right, then you can select which one you wanted to print, like journal, balances, posted transactions by journal, everything. Since we have updated all the details, we'll just click on the validate. See, we haven't discussed this post in batch. Post in batch is nothing but, for example, if there are bulk invoices, this is separate configuration we have to do. For example, say it is not that only one invoice will be dealing, right. You'll be receiving some thousands of invoices on daily basis. It is practically not possible for you to enter each and every transaction like this. This is a separate process how to post all the bulk invoices in a batch. We'll have to create a workflow. There are few setups that we have to do. Okay, now we'll click on the voucher and we'll see same, it will be there. Travel expenses account data to accounts payable. So if you want to know still, for example, the moment you see this transaction, right, if you want to understand what is the origin of this particular transaction, what are the main accounts that are involved, you have to click on the voucher and then click on the transaction origin. If you click on the transaction origin, see, this is nothing but a narration. In books we will write, right, for example, being travel expenses paid to this particular air cargo vendor, same thing. They have divided, I mean, it will be divided into line wise. See, if you see here, it is clearly mentioned, this is the journal entry and this is a vendor transaction. While posting, see, while posting here we have selected as a air cargo carrier, but if you go to the voucher and click on the transaction origin, there's a detailed description that will let you know, like travel expenses account. And if you see the table here, you will understand. If you have any doubts, ensure that you are checking this table to get more details. Okay. Yeah. And this one we have already discussed. Like if you want to see all the posted transactions, just click on all. This includes both posted and not posted. If you want to see the posted, only posted, then click on posted. Even here also you can give few setups, like be a few controls before posting, before creating a new payment, before creating the new invoice journal. Here itself, if you want to give, you can give. For example, if there is any description that you want to change or anything, all these things. See, by default we have selected AP invoice, that's why even description also is showing the same. And if you click on the setup, even this is all based on the journal name, this AP invoice, right, based on this one only it will be shown. And if you want to block any particular user, see, all these things will be enabled once you click on the new. Will see. Yeah, now click on AP invoice. Now go to general. See, if you want to change Apart from AP invoice, if you want to select anything, you can select here. Description if you want to change, and the detail level. If you want more, if you want each and everything about this particular invoice, then you have to select about details. And if you do not want all the details, if you just want a summary, then you can click on this summary. Setup. So setup,
శ్రీనివాస్ ఇది ఎందుకు చేస్తున్నావు నాకు అర్థం కాలేదు, ఒకసారి మళ్ళీ చెప్తావా?
జస్ట్ ఈ ఫ్యూచర్స్ అన్నీ ఉన్నాయి, మనం తెలుసుకోవాలంతే. అసలు ఎక్కడెక్కడ ఏ ఫంక్షన్లు ఏమున్నాయి అని.
మనము ఇన్వాయిస్ పోస్ట్ చేసిన తర్వాత పేమెంట్ గురించి మాట్లాడదాం అనుకున్నాం కదా.
అదే ఇవన్నీ అయిపోయాక పేమెంట్కి వెళ్ళిపోవాలి.
ఓకే, సో అంటే జస్ట్ ఈ ఫ్యూచర్స్ ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేస్తున్నాం అంతే.
ఈ ఫ్యూచర్స్ అన్ని నీకు తెలియాలి కదా ఎక్కడెక్కడ ఉన్నాయి. So this setup is not is in setup. If you want to change any account type, all these things you can update here. And blocking, for example, if you want to hold this particular invoice, you can click on in use, and then if you want to make it a private, see, in use is nothing but you are making it as a mandatory that this particular invoice is in editable. That means you're working on this particular invoice. And if you want to make it a private, you can make it private. That means apart from you, no one will be able to edit this invoice like that. And then if you want to give any financial dimensions, yeah, so if you want this invoice to be linked with only this particular financial dimension or this particular business unit, you can update here.
శ్రీనివాస్, ఇంకోటి, ఈ ఫైనాన్షియల్ డైమెన్స్ ఇవన్నీ బ్లాకింగ్స్ అన్నీ మనకు వెండర్ మనం ఎప్పుడైతే క్రియేట్ చేస్తామో అప్పుడే వచ్చేస్తాయి కదా, మళ్ళీ దీంట్లో ఎందుకు క్రియేట్ చేయడం?
ఇది క్రియేట్ కాదు, ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్ టు ఎడిట్. అక్కడ చేసిన తర్వాత
Okay.
ఓవర్ రైడ్ చేయాలంటే అక్కడ ఒకటి ఇచ్చావు, బట్ ఇక్కడ ఓవర్ రైడ్ చేయాలనుకుంటే చేసుకోవచ్చు అలా.
ఓకే,
సో ఇది క్లియర్ అయిపోయింది. So on one more important thing which I forgot to inform is, once you create the vendor posting profile, right, you have to go to the accounts payable parameters, and then ledger and sales tax is here, right? Here, if you see here, the posting profile is here. If you click on the drop down, then it will show you the list of the posting profile that you have already created. So we have created the test posting profile, prepayment, default, right? So for this particular ledger and sales tax, you have to select the posting profile whichever you want. If you don't select here, then it will not post the transactions. Even for this also, primary item posting, all these things you have to configure. See, this USMF we have already this already created company. That's the reason all these things are already updated. But whenever you create a new legal entity, right, you have to ensure that in accounts payable parameters, ledger and sales tax, click on the posting profile. It will show you the list of all the posting profiles. Yeah. So this is related to prepayment. Anyways, we have not created the prepayment invoice. That we'll discuss it later. Okay. So now we'll discuss about payment setup. If you want to go for the payments, see, payment setup is nothing but how to calculate the due date. Even though due date will be mentioned on each and every invoice, but we'll be having multiple invoices, right? So it is not possible for you to check each and every invoice to check the due date. So the moment you enter the invoice itself, you have to select the payment setup as well. See, if you the navigation for payment setup is accounts payable. Under payment setup, again we have different setups here, like methods of payment, payment days, payment schedules, terms of payment, cash discounts, payment fee and all. Payment calendar also we have to configure. So now we'll go to the payment days here. See, here there are already for example, if you want to create, let's delete this one. Now click on new. Yeah. Assume that, for example, the Wipro, we are dealing with the Wipro vendor, right? If you want to pay invoices for this particular vendor on 15th or let's say 10th of every month, irrespective of whenever you receive the vendor, right? Whenever you receive the invoice, right? 10th is enough. So I have updated it as a 10th of every month. And then, for example, if you since we have decided to make all the Wipro invoices to be paid on 10th, right? So here we'll have to update whether 10th is not a part of any week, right? It is like in example, will in a month we'll be having 30 days. So if you want to select this particular 10th, then you have to select month, and then what is the day of the month we are giving? That is 10. And then if you want to add any other, for example, since we have decided to pay this Wipro invoices only on 10th, let us say you have got one more vendor, that is Infosys, and if you want to pay Infosys vendors on uh, two dates, that is 10th and 15th, both. Yeah, 10 and 15th. So it says it 10th and 15th of every month. So assume that we are receiving these invoices on daily basis, like you are receiving Infosys invoices on daily basis. But irrespective of the invoice date or due date, anywhere it may be, anything it may be, if you want to pay these particular invoices on two dates, that is 10th and one more is 15th, right? Then you will have to give it as a 15th. So now uh, assume that today we have received the invoice. Today we have received the invoice. So what is the next payment date for this? Assume that we have received like invoice 100. What is it? That is the invoice number. What is the due date for this invoice? As per this one for the Infosys. When are we going to pay this invoice? Can someone tell me?
10th being Sunday, the Friday will
Ha.
be it will be picked in Friday's payment run.
No, it is not like that. See, forget. See, that is different. Like Saturday, Sunday, Fridays, and that's a different. In general, if you are giving these payment days, immediate payment day is the 10th, and if you are receiving the invoice on 11th, then the payment date will be on 15th.
15th.
Again, if you receive the invoice on 16th, again it will come back to the same 10th.
Mhm.
So this is the meaning of this particular 2 days in a month. So you understood, right? What is if you want to give multiple dates, you can give like that. So if you want to give any weekdays, let's say Friday, Friday of every week. So here you will have to select the Friday. So this will be grayed out because this is not something related. This is not related to week, right? Yeah. So here we have updated the day of a week as a Friday. So here, for example, if you are receiving invoice on today, now forget about the dates. Now we have to focus only on the weekdays. If you are receiving the invoice on Tuesday, then payment will be done on Friday. And if you are receiving the invoice on Saturday, again it will come. We have to wait till Friday only. That means every weekend, every day, if every Friday, the payment will be done for this particular vendor. If you are selecting this one. So now, did you understand how to configure this one? If you want to, if any of your customer asks, right, do you have any multiple payment days option? Then you will have to explain all these things. Yes, like if they want a week or multiple weeks. For example, if you want to add Tuesday, Friday, or even that can be done. Tuesday and Friday of every week. Let's say your check run, we'll call it as a check run or else payment proposal, anything, both are same. uh, so if you want to propose, if you want to make a payment proposal on every Tuesday and Friday of every week, then you will have to select click on week. It is already there. Then we'll select Tuesday. You can add multiple payment day lines here. Again, we'll go back to the Friday. Yeah, so it's like, so now whenever you receive any invoice, right, if you're receiving an invoice on Friday, the payment will be done on Tuesday, and if you're receiving an invoice immediately, it will be done on Friday. So like this, you can give n number of, there's no no limit here. You can give n number of such payment, and like multiple combinations, like days and months. It's like that.
శ్రీనివాస్,
Yeah.
అది ఇన్వాయిస్ పోస్టింగ్ డేట్ క్యాప్చర్ చేస్తుందా లేకపోతే ఇన్వాయిస్ రిసీవింగ్ డేట్ క్యాప్చర్ చేస్తుందా?
అసలు ఏమి సంబంధం లేదు. మనం ఇన్వాయిస్ డేట్ నుంచి ఇది తీసుకుంటది అంతే.
కానీ ఇన్వాయిస్ అప్రూవ్
మనం
కాకముందు
ఇన్వాయిస్
పేమెంట్ వెళ్ళదు కదా.
పోస్టింగ్
ఇన్వాయిస్
ఇన్వాయిస్
సపోజ్ ఇప్పుడు ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఈరోజు 5th, ఓకే. సో మనకు ఇన్వాయిస్ వచ్చింది 5th వచ్చింది. సో మనము పేమెంట్ ఏం పెట్టాము, ఒక ఫ్రైడే అని పెట్టాము. కానీ ఇన్వాయిస్ 6th, 7th 2 days ఉంటాయి. ఈ 2 daysలో ఇన్వాయిస్ అంటే ప్రాసెస్ కూడా చేయాలి కదా. ప్రాసెస్ చేసి అప్రూవ్ కావాలి. అప్రూవ్ కాకపోతే నెక్స్ట్ ఫ్రైడేకి వెళ్తుంది కదా,
హోల్డ్లోకి వెళ్ళిపోతుంది అంతే. ఇన్వాయిస్ అంతే కదా.
అంతే. ఓకే.
సో అదంతా మనం చూసుకోవాలి. ఆ ప్రాసెస్ అంతా అది మనం చూసుకోవాలి. బట్ ఒకసారి వెండర్కి ఇది ఇచ్చావంటే పేమెంట్ హ్యాస్ టు బి డన్ ఆన్ either Tuesday or Friday. Payment should go on. That is the reason we are giving these payment days, right?
ఓకే.
So and then this is about the payment days. If you can create multiple such payment days, like combinations, and then you'll understand. And the next one is payment schedules. So before getting into the payment schedules, we have discussed about the payment days. So payment schedules is nothing but EMI payments. If you have agreed with your vendor stating that whatever the invoice amount that you are receiving, right, you will be doing that payments in partial or like 2 months or 3 months as per your agreement. Then if you want to configure for that particular vendor invoice, or if you want to split that particular invoice into schedules, then we'll have to configure that one. See, these two are already there. Let us try to create a new one, or else let me try to explain the fields, then it will be easy for you if I create a new one. It's nothing. For example, assume that if you want to pay this particular Wipro invoices to 5 months, 100 rupees is there, right? Or that's the invoice amount. If you want to divide it into 5 equal months, manually it is not possible. For every month you have to, it is not possible, right? For that reason, we'll update it as a pay equally over 5 months. And then let me just click on the edit. Yeah. So assuming that we are paying this invoice on 5 months equally, then here we have multiple allocation. Allocation is nothing but how do you want to split, on what basis. That basis is updated here. If you just click on the allocation, then click on the drop down. Yeah, can you see here, if you click on the total, it is all these fields will be grayed out. Total is nothing but there's no meaning of this one. You see, if you want to give total, then there's no point of giving a pay equally or 5 months. You can just click on create a new year. Total is nothing but you are paying the total invoice amount. But since if you want to pay this payment schedule, right, like 5 months you want to select, right? Yeah. Again, there are 3 categories are there: fixed amount, fixed quantity, and specified. Specified also you should not make, that we'll discuss. And if you want to, for example, if you want to pay this particular vendor invoice on fixed amount basis, fixed amount, that means invoice amount is 100 rupees, right? Invoice amount is 100 rupees. And if you want to break this into 5, that is nothing but that is just 20 rupees, right? So assume that you are receiving on daily basis hundreds of invoices, not only from Wipro, like Infosys, TCS, anywhere it may. If you're receiving multiple invoices, and let's say all the invoices are the minimum amount, or let's say the common amount, it's 100 rupees. So for such invoices, if you are for such vendors, if you want to make this as a, and also let's say you have 10 vendors. Among those 10 vendors, you have agreed for 5 vendors to pay all their invoices into 5 months. That means you are dividing the invoice amount into 5 equal months. So for all such vendors specifically, then you can select, you can give it as a configuration. Just go to your fixed amount, select fixed amount, and then since we have decided to pay it on every month, right? So then so you select it as a month, and this change is nothing but the frequency. So frequency here is every month, right? So you are giving it as a month, and then what is the payment number of payments? That is 5. And the amount in transaction currency, that is not mandatory. And okay, see, amount in transaction currency, as I mentioned, 20 rupees is the EMI, right? Every month you're supposed to pay 20 rupees. You can just update this as a 20 rupees. Yeah. So if you select this particular payment schedule for that any invoice, by default, the amount in transaction currency, it will be divided into 20. And if, in case if the invoice amount is 101 rupees. So till this, you are clear, right? All these fields, this is not mandatory. The sales tax, anyways, all these things will be discussed. We'll discuss it later during this sales tax configuration, everything. So till now here it is clear, right? So not here. 1 minute. Yeah. So this is for example, amount in transaction currency. It is not mandatory. You have to give it. Instead of this one, you can give it as a maximum amount. Maximum amount will give it as a 20. And then that's all. So if you give it as a maximum amount 20, uh, if you're selecting this particular payment schedule, even if the invoice amount is, let's say, 1,000, 2,000, anywhere it may be. If it is 1,000, then each EMI will be 200 rupees, right? Then it will throw you an error stating that in your payment schedule, the maximum amount allowed for this particular payment schedule is only 20 rupees. So for that reason, most of them, they don't give it this as a maximum amount. They will just uh, divide. For example, whether a payment per, or what is a EMI months they are supposed to select. This maximum amount, minimum amount you can give. What is the use of this minimum amount? I'll tell you. It is not practically possible that you will be receiving invoices only on odd amount, that is round figure, right? That is 100, 200. It is not possible. If you add tax or anything, then assume that you are receiving an invoice for 105 rupees. So if you divide this into 5, okay, assume that you want to select, if you want to pay this 105 rupees into 5 EMIs. If you divide this 105 into 5 EMIs, it will be point, right? I mean, like some 101 rupees, or it's something like 101 rupees it will come, but it is practically, it doesn't look scope good. So for that reason, what we can do is, you can give this minimum amount, right, as a 5 rupees. If you give this minimum amount as a 5 rupees, uh, it will divide all the 5 it will divide 4 installments of 20 each, and then the 50 EMI is there, right? It will become 25 rupees. Yeah. So 4 EMIs will be 20 rupees, and then by default, whatever the amount that is left, right, on that particular invoice, it will calculate in the last month. So did you understand what is the importance of this particular payment schedule and fixed amount? Anyway, we'll take few examples. How does this looks, and how to select this fixed quantity. And fixed quantity is nothing but, assume that you do not go want to go for, as per the fixed amount. Since amount is not, you're not going with the amount, right? So you just wanted to go with the fixed quantity. Fixed quantity, see, by default it will be number of payments is 5 year. And the minimum, see, again, this minimum amount, same, you can give as a 5 rupees or 10 rupees, then it will the last EMI it will consider for that balance amount. And if you sell this fixed quantity, right, by default your invoice will be split into 5 EMIs. So this amount in transaction currency and the minimum amount, all these things are not applicable for that particular fixed quantity. But if you go for the fixed amount, then this will be this will be enabled, and this will be grayed out. See, one. So remember, just fixed amount in the sense, this number of payments that will be disabled here. And if you select as a fixed quantity, then this will be enabled here, number of payments here. So you can edit whatever the amounts you want. If you want to make this payment schedule for 6, then you can update the number of payments as 6. It's like that. And specified is nothing but the customized. And if you click on the specified, all these options will be grayed out. Specified is nothing but, you don't want to follow any of this particular routine, like 5 EMIs, 6 EMIs, or anything. But if you want to make it some customized, let's say if the invoice amount is 1000 rupees, and if you want to pay this 1000 rupees as 10%, 20%, and 30%, and 40%. So you have agreed with that particular vendor that invoice amount will be paid in 10%, 20, 30, and 40%. So if you want to customize this one, then click on the specify. And as per the agreement, you are paying this invoice on a monthly basis, right? You can click on the month and then click on the payment lines. See, this payment lines will be enabled only for specified, because in these fields you do not have any options, right, to give this 10, 20, 30, 40 or anything. That's the reason these fields are grayed out. And then you click on the add. Huh. What is the number of periods that you are supposed to give for this particular payment schedule? 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you give it as a 4. See, there are two ways. Either you can go as per the percentage, or you can go as per the amount as well. See, there is a drop down here. You can go as per amount. So we'll go as per the percentage. What is the percentage value? And then click on add. What is the next percentage? 20. Click on add. 30. Yeah. Now it is clear, right? Sorry. It should be 40. 40, 30, 20, 10. So whenever you are selecting this particular payment schedule, right, for any of the vendor, then by default the amount of that particular invoice will get split into 4 parts. That is 40% is 30, 20, 10. And based on this one, the amount will be paid to the vendor as per our payment proposal. So till now, are you clear with how to select this particular payment schedules, everything? We'll try to create a new one. Assume that
5 months
you want
పెట్టాం
to
కదా
pay
శ్రీనివాస్.
9 months.
హలో శ్రీనివాస్,
Now,
మనం 5 months పెట్టాం కదా, అది
uh,
5 months పే ఈక్వల్లీ ఆర్ 5 months అని చెప్పి అందులో స్పెసిఫైడ్ సెలెక్ట్
నీ వాయిస్
చేసుకుంటాం.
బ్రేక్ అవ్వట్లేదు. నీ వాయిస్ చాలా స్లోగా ఉంది.
ఇప్పుడు వినిపిస్తుందా?
ఇప్పుడు వినిపిస్తుంది.
సో మనము 5 months స్పెసిఫైడ్ పెట్టినప్పుడు 4 months లో కూడా క్లియర్ చేసుకోవచ్చా పేమెంట్స్? ఎందుకంటే స్పెసిఫైడ్ లో ఓన్లీ
చేసుకో,
4
నీ
టర్మ్స్
ఇష్టం.
పెట్టాం.
చేసుకో, ఏమవుతుంది, అడ్వాన్స్ పేమెంట్ అయిపోతుంది అంతే. అప్పుడు ఇన్వాయిస్ అమౌంట్ జీరో అయిపోతుంది అంతే. మ్యాండేటరీ కాదు కదా, నువ్వు ఇన్వాయిస్ వెండర్కి ముందే పే చేస్తా అంటే వద్దన్నాడు, ఏమో వద్దండ కదా వాడు.
వాడొద్దును కానీ మన క్యాష్ ఫ్లో దెబ్బతింటది కదా.
అది మనం చూసుకోవాలి, మనకు కావాలంటే పే చేసుకోవచ్చు, లేదంటే లేదంతే. ఇట్ ఈస్ అప్ టు యూ. అంటే ఎడిట్ చేయొచ్చా లేదంటున్నావు కదా, ఎడిట్ చేయొచ్చు, అదేం ప్రాబ్లం. ఒకసారి ఇచ్చాం కదా అని చెప్పేసి మళ్ళీ దాన్ని ఎడిట్ చేయలేం కదా, ఎడిట్ చేసుకోవచ్చు.
సో నెక్స్ట్ కమింగ్ మంత్స్ లో కూడా ఎడిట్ చేసుకోవచ్చు ఒక్కసారి ఫస్ట్ పేమెంట్
నీ
సెకండ్
ఇష్టం.
పేమెంట్ అయిన తర్వాత. ఓకే,
ఎక్కడైనా వెండర్ పేమెంట్ ఎక్కడైనా ఎడిట్ చేసుకోవచ్చు, చూపిస్తుంది ఎడిట్ ఎలా చేసేది అమౌంట్. So we'll try to create a new payment schedule, assuming that we are supposed to pay invoice amount equally over the 9 months. So by default, if you select this total, then there's no meaning for this pay equally over 9 months, because allocation says that you are paying this particular invoice in a total amount, that is in single shot. So that's the reason all these fields are cleared out. Since we are supposed to pay this over 9 months, right, we'll go for the fixed amount. See, most of them, they don't select the fixed amount. The reason being, the invoice amounts keep changing, right? Unless you have a regular routine transactions with the same amount, that is not possible in daily course of business. So that's the reason. Anyways, we'll discuss what is a fixed amount. So as we have already discussed, again under fixed amount, we have multiple parameters here. That is payment as per days, months, years, all. If you select it as a days, then you can give it as a, let's say every 3 days you want to do the payment. Then you can say the frequency of this particular days, you can give it as a 3. Or if you want to make every 5 days once, that is every Friday or anything. Not Friday, again it is based on the invoice date, from invoice date to 5 days. Then you can select this one. See, amount in transaction currency, better not to give this. As I mentioned, it is not possible, right? You will be receiving the same amount of particular invoice. So that's not, that will be not updating here. And then, as I mentioned, the maximum and minimum amount you can update here. Ensure that minimum amount always, I mean, it is general practice, you can give 1 rupee. So if there is any difference, let's say like 100, 200 or 205, 26, 206, anything, anyways it will be more than or minimum amount will be 1, right? So the balance amount will be added in the last EMI. And there's one more option here, that is flexible plan. See, this will if you want to make it as a flexible plan, let's say even though you are giving it as a your the frequency is 5 days, right? And the payment per is like every 5 days once this payment, the amount will get divided and it will be paid. And if you want to make a flexible plan, what is the minimum number of plans on, or if you want to limit this particular, even though you have given as a 9 installments, and if you want to limit override this particular one, then you can uh, enable this flexible plan as a yes. And for example, if you want to give it as a only 1. Yeah, minimum value. Yeah. So this maximum is 9, or if you want to make it as a 8 or something, you can give that. So this will override this particular payment schedule. So as per your requirement, you can make it as a yes or no. Then it will be grayed out. And then if you want to go as per the monthly wise, okay, assume that if you want to make this particular invoice like quarterly events or anything, uh, see, anyways, we have decided it for 9 months. Anyway, we can create a one more payment schedule that is for quarterly one. Then you can select in months, and then here you can give it as a 3. It will be a quarterly ones. Since we are giving on a monthly 9 equal month, right? So we'll select it as a months and then click on the change the frequency here. It will be 1. That's all. Specify the amount. Yeah. So this amount transaction currency, like minimum, the basic amount you can give, then it will be easy. Yes. Now we'll go for then a quarterly one.
బ్రో ఒక డౌట్.
Hmm.
ఇది పేమెంట్ షెడ్యూల్స్ మంత్లీ వైజ్ ఎలా అర్థమైంది, కానీ అది ఏ పీరియడ్ నుంచి స్టార్ట్ అవుతుంది కట్ అవ్వడం, వెండర్ కి పేమెంట్ వెళ్ళడం ఎప్పటి నుంచి స్టార్ట్ అవుతుంది?
ఇన్వాయిస్ డేట్ నుంచి డిడక్ట్ అవుతుంది. ఫస్ట్ డ్యూ డేట్ ఏదైతే
ఇన్వాయిస్ డేట్ నుంచి
మనము పేమెంట్ షెడ్యూల్స్ అప్లై చేయాలి. అది చూపిస్తా, అసలు అప్లై చేసినప్పుడు చూపిస్తా. చేస్తాం. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ క్వార్టర్లీ అంటే ఏంటి? ఎవ్రీ 3 months వన్స్ కదా. సో క్వార్టర్లీ అంటేనే మనం ఇక్కడ మంత్ సెలెక్ట్ చేసుకున్నాం. అండ్ దెన్ ద ఫ్రీక్వెన్సీ విల్ గివ్ ఇట్ యాజ్ 3. సేమ్. So specify the amounts. We'll just update it as a 1. So till now you understood how to create these payment schedules, right? Now we'll apply for any particular invoice. We'll go to vendor payment journal, click on new vendor payment, click on lines. We'll select Wipro. Now click on settle transactions. I think today we have created a few transactions, right? Yeah. So we'll try to ఒక్క నిమిషం. ఇక్కడ పేమెంట్ షెడ్యూల్స్ ఒకటి ఇక్కడ మనకు అప్లై పేమెంట్ షెడ్యూల్ అని ఒకటొస్తది. ఇన్వాయిస్ జర్నల్‌కెళ్ళాలి. ఒక్క నిమిషం. హలో! అది ట్రాన్సాక్షన్